I remember saying just a little old prayer. I said, "Not my will, but thine be done." And that was it. So I volunteered for the Navy right before I drafted in the Army. That's where that was. Well, went to Farragut, Idaho for 5 weeks training. Well, you had to get across the swimming pool, but I never got to swim. I'd go down there at night. Some other kids would go down with me and try to help me. But if you got across that swimming pool, which is probably 50 foot across, you passed the test. Well, I got across all right, but half the time I was on the bottom. Every time I'd come up, he said, "Come on, Frank, you'll make it." And I made it, but when I got across, I couldn't even tell that guy at the desk what my name was. I was so out of breath. That's a hell of a time getting across it, but I never did know how to swim. I know I went up and down, I'll bet 2 or 3 or 4 times before I got across. I wasn't trained to do nothing, just to obey orders. That's about all. The 5 weeks, that's all they do is give you hell and make you take orders. But some young kids, they didn't know what authority was until they got in the Navy. Because I got a few whippings in school and a few more when I got home. And 10 days leave. When I got back, I was ordered overseas ready, out of San Francisco. That ship was only made for 5,000. But there was more people in there than, there was only standing room only. In fact, that was kind of cruel. The only time we could get a drink of water would be like 4 o'clock in the morning, and they'd have a fountain scattered around the ship. And we slept 5 deep. I suppose 500 or more in one room. I mean, you had a hell of a time getting to that cot where you were supposed to be. No, it took us 30 days to go from San Francisco to Eniwetok, I think first island we hit. That's where I got aboard the ship. Well, off this troop ship, any ship that was in that harbor or something needed so many men, and they called off Southern Seas needed 7, I think, or 5 or 7, and they just alphabetical order, Holtmeier, Hollingsworth, and anyway, all our names started with H.O. They just took it off their list alphabetically and sent us 7 to the Southern Seas, and then another ship needed so many. They went there. You didn't have no say-so or nothing. It wasn't no, well, like it was a converted yacht, or it was originally a yacht. It wasn't a seaworthy ship. Well, it didn't have waterproof doors or nothing on it, like most ships do. Well, I often wondered what it was for, really, what we was doing out there. But I guess it was a hotel ship. Actually, it was for the news correspondents and admirals and big wheels had a place to stay. The way I remember it, there was only maybe 5 or 6 at a time. Of course, there was only about 6 or 8 rooms, I think, as far as I knew. No, hell no, there was about 30 of us, or 40 of us slept in a room not half as big as this is, I guess. I mean, we was 4 deep, I think. You know, just with a canvas, 4 deep. Food was good. Yeah. We ate off a place just like we did at home, where bigger ships, they had to move metal trays like you do in boot camp. And we could go to the kitchen any time of the day. We had our maids when it come to eating. No, we sat down at the table just like you would at home and ate our meals. Well, that's all we did was talk. I mean, I knew how many brothers and sisters everybody aboard that ship had at one time. I mean, we talked about your brothers and sisters and stuff, I suppose, just for something to do. Well, the one we had in the engine room was a real good one. That was the Scudder, only one that come back.
Right.
But he was good. He was even good while aboard ship. Well, you didn't like that Przybylski, that boatswain. You couldn't chip paint, you couldn't scrub the deck, you couldn't do nothing without him barking at you. You looked like a sergeant in the army. And down in the engine room, all you had to do was watch the temperature gauges on these engines. And if something fell apart, the guy with rank had to know what he's doing, not private like I was. I mean, a boatswain mate, he had to be kind of that way, I guess, to make them guys chip paint and scrub right and stuff. Down in the engine room, it was altogether different than the deck force. I know that. They was old antiques too. Well, the ship was built in 1923, 21 or 2 or something like that. They was crude, and obsolete, and well, they was 20 foot long, probably 8 or 10 cylinders, or was it 16? I know they was great big, they just crude and old. Other than generators, you had 2 generators too that furnished the electricity stuff. Them's the only ones you had to watch in Hart and Fort. Yeah, we had evaporators, they called it. That's all that was boilers that boiled water and caught the steam. And when steam would come back to water, that was fresh. We had 50 caliber machine guns. We had a couple of gunners mates though. I don't know why. Well, like I said, I seen Jap airplanes once in a while, but coming back, I think. And them, I believe them Japs knew when a big ship come in the harbor, they knew, and that's they'd go for them. They wouldn't worry about anything like ours. Well, I don't know, we had our hours, I don't know what it was, 8 on. However, we had to put in 8 hours every 24, so we probably off 12, on 8, I suppose, I don't know. Well, every once in a while they'd give us a case of beer, and we had to go to the island though to drink it. And that wasn't hardly worth it either. Well, we had whale boat. We had 1 speedboat, 1 whale boat, and there'd be about 15 of us on this damn whale boat. And we'd get on the island, and I think we was allowed 2 cans of beer, but some guys wouldn't drink it, so some of them guys got hold of 3 or 4 and made them half drunk. And on the back, going back to that ship on that boat, I'll never forget. That wasn't worth it. They never upset that boat, and I always was scared of water. I never was. Never did like water. Like we knew the storm was coming, like early in the morning, I think. And really didn't. I think I left the ship sometime in the afternoon, I remember that. All morning we thought we was going to might have to leave, but nobody left until after dinner, I think. We abandoned ship drills all the time, every so often, until that storm. I don't think it was no. Well, if I remember, they did finally. The skipper did say everybody on his own, but he didn't really tell us to abandon ship or anything. He just said do what you want to do, I guess. Well, I don't know. I do remember we was still in the engine room and we had steel plates, about a 2x4 probably, that covered iron framework for a floor. About got them steel plates that slide around while we was still down. And I thought, dude, one hell of a place until he told us to get out of there. And I wasn't on the deck very darn long. And I think I got washed off. I don't know. You know, most ships went out to sea. Every ship in the harbor would head out to sea on them deals.
They could.
And that's why everybody was trying to get out that time. It was a mess. A lot of them couldn't control their ships either, I guess, because there was sure a lot of collisions. One banging in the other. I was up on the main deck when the USS Jack Singer was a merchant marine ship. It was being pushing backwards. They must not have their engine going either. Anyway, it slid right, the hind end of their ship slid right into us on the side of it. And somehow or another, the back end of it went up, and our little ship went under that darn thing, under the screw of that big ship, anyway. And then when it come down, they must have got the engine, and that screw started, the engine must have got started, because that screw just chopped the hell out of ours. We had a wood railing around, all the way around the ship, with wood 6-8 inches diameter. It was just chopping them blocks of wood just flying off that screw. Of course, then they was throwing us ropes off that ship too. Some of them guys, I swear, I don't know who it was, but I think I remember a couple of guys jumped for them ropes right there already. They left the ship trying to get them ropes. The spray was going horizontal. You know, the wind was whipping the top of the waves, I suppose, that made the spray, you couldn't see a hell of a lot. Well, I remember I took my shoes off and somebody told me, said, you better be putting them back on for some reason. And of course we had life jackets and them guys knew I couldn't swim, so I know they give me that life, that tire, like a tire with a rope around it. Anyway, I was scared like hell until I slid into that water that day. And then I didn't worry about a thing. I remember saying just a little old prayer. I said, not my will, but thine be done. And that was it. I didn't think. I just thought everything was gone. I know I didn't worry about nothing. I don't think I had a thought in the world as long as I didn't know what, until I felt something on my feet. And all at once, another wave come along and set me way the hell up on the island. And it's MP standing there. Wouldn't know where the hell I come from. I told him, I said, I don't care where I come from. I'm sure glad to be here. I don't really remember that well either. I'd say maybe 2 hours, wondering what. Hell, there was ships, that got a couple hundred yards sitting up on the island the next morning. I mean, them waves would put a ship up there and leave it there. Or a small one, that is. This all happened in the afternoon. I don't think nothing happened that night. But somehow or another we met somebody, a few of us got together the next morning, I think. And I think the Scudder was one of them. And there was a barge there that had nothing but fruit cocktail on it. Cans. I mean, the whole barge was loaded with fruit cocktail. And that's where we stayed first night or two. And we ate fruit cocktails. Till the next day they'd scuttle arranged to either go to the army barracks to eat, or, oh yeah, they give us some damn K rations. We could either eat them or go to that army base and eat. Of course, I felt like a man without a country that next morning, because I didn't know whether our service records or anything probably lost too. You know, I started writing to Lee Bartlett, and he was in the Seabees. And you know, I started walking, and I'll bet you I didn't walk an hour, and run into him standing on the road. I knew where the CB outfit was. And here he was standing right on the road, and we walked right into him. They had a board of inquiry, where they just went through the relieving everybody of negligence of why the ship sunk, I guess. Week, 10 days or something. Oh yeah, the scudder, he told us, he said, you know, he said, we're all entitled to go back to the United States. And he said, if you know anybody that's of importance, he said, write to him and tell him that we stuck there. And that's when he told us, he said, you write to anybody. And I don't know, it wasn't over a day or two. We did, too. It wasn't about a day later, some admiral come along and asked Scudder, what are you guys doing here? And Scudder told him, he said, that's what we'd like to know. And he said, there's a ship out there that's going back to the United States. He said, get on there. And that's what we did. Just some admiral had the authority to say, you got to get on that ship, you're headed home. Same size ship. As I went across, I know we only had 5,000 guys on going back, so that was kind of nice. Well, we had this is really bringing back memories. You know, there's two of them guys got shipped back, flew back, I think, on account of their injuries. And they was in a hotel in San Francisco. So we met there in this hotel the first night we was home. And we must have had one hell of a party then, because next morning that hotel wouldn't let us out of there unless we had to donate $10 or $15 to clean the place up.